As a parent of kids in youth sports, I've seen firsthand how poor coaching, overcompeting, and negative sidelines can crush a kid's love for sports. That's why I recommend KLC Method Basketball. Coach Cam focuses on fundamentals, confidence, and true player development. No politics, no favorites, just real growth. If you have a K through 12th grader who wants to start or level up their game, give Coach Cam a call. KLC Method Basketball, where kids learn, grow, and fall in love with the game. Get started with Cam by clicking the link below. On Into the Mindset, we are all about protecting what matters most. And that includes your safety and your time. Fall is just around the corner, and with it comes leaves, clogged gutters, and dangerous ladder climbs. Freedom Gutter Covers gives you a lifetime no-clog guarantee, so you'll never have to risk a fall or clean your gutters again. Let us install your covers today so you can focus less on chores and more on faith, family, and freedom to be a healthier you. Click the link below to get a free quote today. And don't forget, type in Into the Mindset to get 5% off. Welcome to Limitless Living Into the Mindset, the podcast that dives into the heart of growth, grit, and what it really means to keep moving forward. Dawn Marie,
Hi.
First off, I love saying your name. I say it like I have to say the whole thing every time. I'm like, I can't just say Dawn. It has to be the Dawn Marie. But I'm super excited to have you on. I heard you at our BNI months ago.
Yeah.
You kind of went through your story just a little bit. And then you talked about the company that you work for and everything like that. But while you were going through your story, I was just fascinated. I loved it. And ever since then, every time you walk into the room, you seem to always brighten the room. You have a very interesting character that everybody just seems to be attracted to and love. So I was like, I gotta have her on the show, and we gotta hear this amazing woman's story. And
there you go.
And what I learned was like strong woman, independent woman, and that's what I got from kind of your story. I'm really excited to get into that. So let's just start off with where are you from, and kind of go from there.
I was going to start off with, I was born a poor black child, but I don't know how that goes over. Plus people don't know Steve Martin anymore. Born in Tennessee, raised in California. Don't hold that against me. Single mom, right? We kind of moved all over the state. We ended up in Fontana, California, the Inland Empire, the armpit of the Inland Empire. After I graduated high school, I decided I took the ASVAB in high school. And so I scored pretty high on it. And so I was like, I want to be a Marine because Marines are disciplined. I want to go into the Marines. I'm like, hooah. And Navy called first. So they're like, hey, we're interested in this. And so I'm like, okay. So I go in and I talk to them, and they're like, we want to make you an ET. Your score's so high, be an ET. And I'm like, I'm not interested in that. That's like way above what and there's like, well, you can be a boatswain mate, you can be undesignated, and then you can choose. And I'm like, yes, let's do that. So I'm all excited, sign the paperwork. I call my sister. She's been in 6 months prior. And I told her, and she's like, you're an idiot. She goes, ET would have set you up for the rest of your life. You would have had something, but you're going to be a deck ape. So you're going to be chip and paint. You're going to be painting the ship. You're going to be standing watch. Your life's going to suck. It didn't. So, joined the military, was stationed out in Virginia. And I'll tell you, it was the best thing ever. It'll humble you real quick, right? Everybody thinks if you go into the military, automatically when they hear that, they're like, oh, she's got discipline, she's organized. I'm going to say probably 80% of the people that go into the military are already that. And there's probably 20%. It's just Dawn, the world according to Dawn, about 20%, it actually brings them up out of that, right? It teaches them that. So it does kind of help you get a little more organized. But anyway, I go in as an E3 because I have a little bit of college, right? I become, I was RCPO, which is Recruit Chief Petty Officer in boot camp. I'm going way back. Sorry about this.
No, you're good.
So basically, I was kind of the head dog for my I don't know what it was called, group, we'll just call it. So which is really scary because I didn't think I had any leadership ability, and come to find out I didn't. So the funniest part was when there's a certain portion of your training when you have to go, it's in Florida, where you have to carry these wooden rifles, right? And so there's different commands for like carrying it and dropping it or whatever. Well, we'd go out in the morning and we'd have it at our side or whatever, and then the CPO would say, okay, let's get out of here. So I'd say, let's move forward. And everybody would start dragging their rifles because I forgot to tell them to put it at port arms. Needless to say, I was a push-up doing fool because every time she would be, stop, get down. What are you supposed to do? I'm like, all right, thanks. So the cool thing about what happened in boot camp, not only did I get to be our CPO, which was kind of cool, but they came around recruiting for dive school. And so I'm like, oh man, I can't do that. So a couple girls tried out. They failed miserably. But got my ship. After boot camp, I went ahead to my ship. It was the USS Shenandoah. It was an AD-44. It's a destroyer tender. So basically, we're welded to the pier. We're basically a repair ship.
Okay.
Right? So when we go out, if ships are down or we're in formation in the fleet or whatever, we can get them supplies. We can go in and we can do repairs or whatever. It's a whole like city of repair shops, right? Get on there. We have a dive locker on board because we do everything because it's a tender. Well, I thought, I think I want to be a diver because I saw it in boot camp. So I go down to the dive locker and I tell them, hey, I want to be a diver. So they look at me and laugh hysterically. And they're like, all right, well, if you can pass the test, we'll make you a mud puppy. So a mud puppy is basically you're just OJT. You're just kind of hanging out, doing whatever they tell you so you can get some information about what you're going to do once you get into dive school and then after. So I go take my physical, I pass it, and then I go see the doctor. And my doctor had fingers, all of them this big. And someone told me it was a very thorough exam. And so when I saw him and he shook my hand, I'm sure I turned white because I was like, this is not going to be a fun experience. Regardless to say, we got past that. So became a mud puppy for 6 months, went to dive school, and then I got, dive school was in Little Creek. And then I was assigned to the grapple. It was ARS 53. So it's kind of like a seagoing tugboat type thing. So we do a lot of towing. And then we did rescue. So that was a really cool experience because as a diver, unfortunately, there were planes that had gone down. So that was our job to go out and to pull them up off the bottom. So that was really cool. I remember one time a plane had gone down. It was at 188 feet. As a second class diver on air, you can go to 190 feet. So I don't know if you know about diving. The deeper you go, the more nitrogen you get in your system, and you get nitrogen narcosis, which is like being drunk, right?
Right.
So usually right around, I don't know, maybe it's like 130 feet, between 90 and 130, I don't know. But you start getting drunk. We didn't have a build-up dive to this, and so we had to go straight down to the bottom, right? And I remember we're picking up pieces and everything. We've got the landing gear and stuff, and we're trying to get everything onto the. It's like an elevator that goes down that you're standing on, and it goes all the way to the bottom. I'm working. I must have been talking because you don't talk unless you have something to say to topside. And so I must have been rattling like a bird because all of a sudden I hear dawn. And I stop. And I'm like, God, is that you? And he's like, no, this is Master Diver LaQuay. You need to get yourself squared away and get ready to come up the bottom. Okay. But anyway, so Navy, met my first husband. He was going through PJ training. So, every branch of the military has their specialties that they train everybody else in. So Navy was diving. So he was there for scuba school for PJ's pararescuemen.
So how many divers at the time were women?
There were 8 enlisted female divers when I was in.
Wow.
And there actually happened to be another Dawn. but she was a first class diver. And she was married to a master diver at the time. So.
And you were second.
I was a second class diver. So that means we going down to 190 feet. I can't even remember 2-something is what you can go down, but you're going to do heliox. If you're a first class diver, we didn't do that stuff. So
gotcha.
Stage is the word I was looking for. The
so
elevator.
one of eight.
One of 8
during that time.
Enlisted. There were a lot of female officers that went to dive school. And I'm not downgrading this, but they went, got their pin because it's part of your promotion, like that.
Yeah.
So they didn't do a lot of working dives. They would come, a lot of the officers would come and dive like to keep their quals up.
Yeah.
So that's understandable. But
right.
yeah. But anyway, yeah.
But they were doing that to progress, not because they couldn't.
Checking a box.
Yeah.
Checking a box.
Not because they couldn't do it or they weren't able to succeed in it.
Correct.
In fact, they succeeded well and moved up. So that's really cool. That's something that I was wondering kind of while you're going through it is, I wonder how many at the time were women divers. And even now I'm curious how many.
Yeah, I wouldn't know, but I don't know. We get this big push for women to go into combat and to do all these things. I think there are certain countries that tribal mentality and women fighting by men is acceptable and it's their culture. I don't necessarily believe that it's necessarily our culture. I think the 60s and 70s did a great disservice to this country and to people in general, trying to make women equal to men and to separate the family. I think women have a distinct role in this world, and it's to nurture, and it's to, when you have a mate, is to support them and build them up. That is your job, right? You give life not only, physically by having children, but you're raising them to be a part of society, but also you're behind your man and you're supporting him and letting him be the best that he can be because he's over you, over his family.
Well, that's so much more powerful coming from somebody who has such a strong, independent kind of bring up through the military and everything.
Yeah. Single mom, she always said, you can be anything you want to be.
And having a single mom too. Yeah.
Yeah. I love she's passed away now, but I love the fact that she did support us in that way. But we didn't have a father figure. So it didn't behoove us as we became older, to find an acceptable mate. So that was kind of the downfall of having that. So her growing up and figuring out who she was our formative years. And so, it's very important at those younger ages to be able to look at your parents or people that are caring for you and to get examples, to watch their example, to see how men relate to women, how women relate to men, and even how your father and your mother relate to you. That's so important. Just to get off that. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Well, I have some follow-up questions with that. So if you don't mind me asking, why was father kind of out of the picture?
My mom grew up in an alcoholic household. She was the oldest of 3 girls. She ended up raising her sisters. Typical, my grandparents were Hispanic, but it wasn't cool to be Hispanic. You were like, you had to be Beaver Cleaver. So they went to a lot of parties, they drank a lot, and subsequently, there's abuses at home. So my mom, as soon as she is able, she gets married, and she gets married to a guy who's in the military. And so she's gone from now an abusive household, raising her sisters, not knowing who she was, into another relationship where now there are really no parameters, and there's a lot of drinking, a lot of drugs, and now she's got 2 kids under the belt, right? So my dad was in the Navy. I was born in Tennessee. My sister was born in California. We end up in Hawaii, or Japan, I forget. I don't know, overseas. And my dad gets deployed, and my mom says, I'm done. So she packs us up and we go live with my grandmother. And so that was the end of Dad.
So how did your mother feel about you going into the Navy, both of you going into?
She was proud. We have a military family. So my grandfather was Coast Guard. All my uncles were in the Army. I have 2 male cousins, 2 female cousins. My 2 male cousins, my aunt did not want them to do the military, so they did not do the military. But my 2 cousins, one is Air Force. She's still Air Force right now. The other one was Army. She just did 1 stint. My sister was Navy, and I was Navy. So we're military family.
And now that you're out of the Navy and everything and looking back, is that something that you would 100% do again? Is that the route you would kind of go again?
I would have stayed in and been an officer. That's the whole reason I went in because I felt like I needed discipline. I felt like I needed direction. And, you know, being an officer, you're looking longevity, retirement and all that. So that was the way to do it. I didn't necessarily want to be enlisted all my life. I was wanting to go up the ranks. But then I met my husband and things changed. Yeah, if I could do it all over again, most definitely, I would have stayed in and been an officer and probably retired. Yeah.
Officer.
Yep.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but after you got out of the military, did you go into, is it nursing?
I actually, because I was married at the time when I got out, the reason I had to get out, my husband at the time, he had finished his PJ. He had been a PJ for about a year. And then he was a Ranger before that. So right out of high school, he went into Rangers, did best Ranger competitions or whatever, went to school, got his political science degree. And then we met and he did the PJs. Well, the next progression is Delta Force. And so he decided he wanted to do Delta Force. And there was no way that I could support him and him being in North Carolina and me being in Virginia. So he said, you need to get out. I was like, okay. He had more time, more rank. So I was like, that's fair. Yeah. So then I became an Army wife. I was a casserole cooking, church going, house decorating fool.
Which is, you know, in that way you were kind of talking about supporting the spouse and stuff. So in that moment you were kind of supporting the spouse and supporting that. At any point did he go into Delta Force and get all that and do all that?
Yeah, we trained together and then he went to selection. He was in it. Oh, golly, how long was he in? I know he got out like at 19 years. We got divorced while he was still in. But yeah, I think it was 10 years he was in.
So at any point after he kind of got to those goals and everything, did it kind of come back to you and like, okay, what's next? What do we want to do
he was
next
very
for you?
supportive. He was probably, I wish I hadn't been so immature at that point in my life. And I think a lot of it is that whole upbringing thing, latchkey kid, not having good, examples. Don't blame my mom. I don't blame her because she did the best she could.
Right.
But you can see a progression. If you look back, you can see a progression. So, you know what? The train derailed. There are no survivors. What was the question again? Did he support you?
Yeah.
Okay.
So did that kind of come back around to where he supported you on some of your future?
So yes, Scott was wonderful. He supported me in a whole lot of things. He was a lot of strength for me. He came from a Christian family. He was well-grounded, Eagle Scout. I mean, you name it. And he looked like Sylvester Stallone. So it was really cool. But
the more you keep talking about this guy, the more I'm like, he's kind of a badass, it sounds like.
And he was only like 5'10". And if you looked at him, you'd be like, oh, he's a fit guy, all right. But some of those guys, some of them are apes. They drag their knuckles or whatever. But some of them, you wouldn't know. You look at them, they were Eagle Scouts, they have a family and everything like that. And you don't know they're CQBing,
Yeah.
It's pretty awesome. It's such an interesting group. They are such strong individuals. It's a shame that they get ridden so hard because that is an elite place and officers have to cycle through there and you go through there to check your points, to get your promotions, to get your attaboys, and you're just beating that monkey to death. Every time somebody new comes in, they got new ideas. We got to look better, do this because I got to get this, It's the nature of the beast. It's the nature of the beast. The guys know it going into it. It's just the way it is. And again.
So what kind of led to, because you've mentioned that it was your previous husband. What kind of led to the divorce and everything, if you don't mind me asking?
No, not at all. Because I was immature. I ended up having an affair when I was on a med cruise, and that put havoc in my family. We did counseling, and he was very supportive. His family was very supportive. We got back on track. And then it was just, again, it was just my immaturity. He's overseas. He's, fighting bad guys or whatever, and I'm just being an idiot at home. And so it came to a point where I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. But he was always willing to try to make things work. And I just thought I knew better, and I really didn't. But he was the one that encouraged me to go back to school. So when we moved to North Carolina, he's like, you should go to school. So I went to school, got a sports medicine degree, and wanted to be an athletic trainer. But then I realized, when you're first coming into this, you make about $26,000 a year. You're working 80 hours a week. Like, So I became a personal trainer at the local gym. And then when we split, we ended up going, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Which at times isn't like much better as it goes for pay and things. Depending on where you're at.
Depending on where you're at. But I didn't want to work that hard. Tell you the truth, that is the honest to God answer. So, yeah. But I ended up going back to Las Vegas for a little bit, and he stayed in North Carolina before we got divorced. And he's like, I was working for a hyperbaric facility. So because I dove and because I drove chambers, was looking for a job and started working hyperbarics. Go.
No.
Okay.
No.
So everyone, hyperbarics are in the chamber, right? So we would use that. We were attached to the hospital. We had, I think it was we were inside of a tractor trailer. So we had a little lift on the side. We'd bring the people in. The front part of it would open up. We'd shove the people in. I think we could treat maybe 8 or 10 people. And that's pretty full. We usually like to stay around 4 to 6. And so I diving inside. So you help them with the treatment. They were 2-hour treatments, go down to 45 feet. Since we were near Lake Mead, periodically we would get decompression sickness. We had a couple carbon monoxide. So we were DAN for the tri-state. We were the DAN chamber for tri-state area.
Okay.
So it was pretty cool.
How did it feel how many years were you really not diving? Were you kind of the stay at home?
1993 was my last year. I dove January 94.
Okay.
So, and then haven't done anything since.
Well, how did it feel to kind of be working back in that area when you were working
It was good. It was good. I mean, it's dry. It was different. Got a introduction to medical stuff, which was cool. I had a good team. I ended up becoming the assistant program director. And it's such a small community that pretty much, you ever hear about, the military guys, you never want to be walking on the ridge and be the person in front because you're the one that's leading. Somebody behind you wants your job and they'll kick you off, right? So it was kind of like that. So assistant program director, my director was, he was actually Special Forces. He was Army. He was brilliant man, warped but brilliant. Barry was his name. But yeah, there was no way that he was going to fall off the cliff anytime soon. So assistant program director, that's where I was.
That's where you're like, all right,
that's where I am. So I did that for a couple of years, but then it was like I was getting hungry to do something a little bit different. I mean, you can only do so much training, policy writing, insurance, blah, blah, blah. And we actually had ICU nurse, Sean, he used to come in for some of our dives where we had patients with pumps or whatever. And so the next thing was, well, I should probably get into nursing because the only way I'm going to change anything here is to kind of branch a little bit. So Scott was very supportive in that. And he's like, yeah, you could do it. I was like, He's like, no, you can do it. So ended up going to nursing school at UNLV, which was fun. I was 40 years old. Our nursing class had half of it was second career, half of it was brand new babies. So,
okay.
Yeah.
So what was it like working with the babies and doing all that stuff? Going from military, diving, everything to being in the hospital working with newborn babies and
Oh, sorry. So when I was talking about school and babies, I'm talking about brand new girls out of high school. They're in their 20s, early 20 to 23. So yeah, babies scare me. Babies scare me. I don't want to work with babies. Never had any children.
Okay,
I'm a good aunt,
I'm on track
but
now.
Yeah. Sorry about that. But yeah, so
I was like, that was a pretty big leap. So that makes more sense now.
Yeah, no, the baby nurses. So sorry about that. Funny story real quick. Got him. So your first semester in nursing school, you're doing some very basic, it's like CNA work, right? So like the first day we're going into the hospital and they've got us in this little room and we're all sitting at desks. I don't know, there's like 20 of us, I don't know. And so the instructor's like, hi, my name is so-and-so. I want you to introduce yourself and just tell us something that nobody else knows. So everybody goes through. And so when it comes to me, I say, my name is Dawn Marie and I've climbed Aconcagua. And they're like, wow, that's cool. I'm like, yeah, it was pretty cool. It's pretty cold, but it was pretty cool. And so we're going on. And so there's this one gal, I think her name was Rose. And she goes, my name is Rose, but yeah, I got nothing. And I'm like, you got nothing? I'm like, you got to have something. I said, there was this, and this. I'm like, you got to have something. I'm like, did you fall out of a tree? Do you have 6 toes? And she's like, I'm like, no way. You have 6 toes?
Called her out.
She's like, yeah, that's why I don't wear sandals. I'm like, you should wear sandals. Oh my gosh, who's polydactyl here? Nobody. You are unique. That is awesome. And that's like, can I see him?
Which is why your character and everything, when you walk into a room, it just kind of brightens the room because you have the kind of off canny things that just kind of pop out like that.
Right.
It happens at BNI all the time.
Yeah,
because we'll ask, occasionally they'll ask questions like that and they'll be going around the room and it's kind of just the normal, like, this and this. And then I always know as it's like getting to Dawn Marie, I'm like, she's thinking, I can see the wheels spinning. Like, what can I say that's so like uncanny with this that they're like, oh. So that was perfect. I'm glad that you mentioned that story because it shows her personality so much. So I want to, we'll kind of continue into that. So you're working with not babies, but you're working nurses. with the younger nurses and everything. Nurses, yeah. How long were you in nursing? How long did you do the nursing?
Technically, I'm still a nurse. I stopped actually working this year. Okay. 18 years. 18 years as an operating room nurse.
Operating room nurse.
Yeah, about 7 years of traveling. Okay,
so it's my son. He's part of the GoCaps program right now through our schools, and he's been working in the hospital lately, primarily in the ER.
Nice.
And he wanted to kind of go he was talking about going the sports medicine route as well through college. But now that he's doing this, he's like, I don't know. I think I want to go to a nursing program and everything and be kind of start out with the ER, but then get into
other areas
and stuff.
It's good. It's good. He's doing that hands-on and getting a feel for it. ER is a different breed. Every floor is a different breed.
I could sit here all day and say the good things about our GoCaps program. We have some real world learning within our schools that is great, and I love that our kids are getting that within our public school system.
Yeah,
there's some growing pains that we need to kind of work out with the real world learning. But as far as the GoCaps program goes, where these kids get to go and kind of work within the fields that they're interested in, it's a great program. My son has loved it. He really enjoys it. And like I said, it shined a light on, he was always, since probably 5th grade, honestly, he was, because I'm kind of, I'm not licensed or do any of that, but just my curiosity and how I live and all that stuff. I'm very much in the health and wellness space and the sports medicine and all that stuff. So he kind of grew up with me talking about all that. And then me as his like at-home coach, he kind of hears me talking about, different recovery tools and different things we're going to do for, your ankle's hurting. We'll do this and things like that. So that's why he had an interest in that. But then with the GoCaps program, it gave an opportunity to get hands-on. And he's like, I really enjoy the ER. He's gotten to witness things that have happened and that are, it's the ER, so they're not good, but for him, it was really cool to see and really cool to be a part
Yes.
of. There's also things that happen in ER that he wishes he didn't see.
Yeah. Yeah.
But he goes, that's kind of part of the excitement of it. So he just kind of fell in love with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And everything. So really cool to hear you kind of say that was the area that we're in for how many years was it?
The operating room? 18.
18. Yeah. 18 years. So,
every time I tell people OR, they hear ER because nobody really talks about the OR. But that's cool. But he's either going to love it or hate it. People with, I understand that if you go into the ER, you either love it or hate it. Mm-hmm. So I'm glad that he loves it.
Well, and the reason I mentioned that he wants to be in the ER to start with, and then eventually he talked about going into the OR side and everything. But he liked the excitement and the constant. Yeah. His words were, it doesn't get boring.
It doesn't.
Like he goes, in the other areas, there was time to kind of like sit and.
Oh, if you're on the floor?
And there's a lot of things. Yeah. And he's like, with the ER, it's like, there's usually not a lot of time that you're just kind of like hanging out or, or anything like that. So he's like, I kind of like that. I was like, yeah, well, that's because you're young. Yeah. It's like, that'll go away. Yeah. And he goes, that's whenever I like to go over to the OR side of it. So
yeah. Or if he likes the rush, then he probably wants to consider doing some kind of trauma. Go up to Barnes, go up to SLU. I worked at SLU for a traveling job, and so trauma is going to be a whole nother beast. So that'd be interesting.
As a parent, I think we're like, you don't want your kid when you're thinking, because I think of him as a kid still. Of course, by then he'll be an adult and everything. Right. But now I think of him as like, I don't want him like witnessing all those things, but
it's part of life.
Yeah, you gotta let go.
Yeah, yeah, and he'll appreciate it so much more. Oh my gosh, all these kids, all these programs I see now at schools. It kind of saddens me that we've gotten away from the trades a little bit. That's frowned upon. That blue collar is not the way to go. Well, I'll tell you what. Let your toilet stop up Christmas when you have 20 people in a house, and guess who's going to be your most favorite person in the world? That blue collar worker that's going to charge you $300 to come on a holiday to just basically flush your toilet. Yeah, Yeah. But I mean, I like Mike Rowe. I appreciate everything that he does for the trades. But yeah, what an experience these kids have nowadays to be able to either start college while they're still in high school, to have these hands-on experiences, to go try out a job before you actually get into it. You know what I mean? That's awesome.
Well, and going back to the trades and kind of what you're talking about there, we had that conversation probably about 2 years ago with him. He came up to us. He goes, "Hey, I want a job. I want to find a job." I'm like, "Okay, great." I was like, "Well, what are you thinking?" Well, like, I know what he can do, right? But I'm like, "What are you thinking?" He goes, I might go to Walmart or go to a fast food restaurant or something like that." And I was like, "Okay," or hear me out.
Yeah.
You could cut tree branches, clean out gutters, mow yards, weed eat yards, things like that. And he goes, I don't think I'll make very much money there. I'm like, "Okay, let's break this down. Yeah. I want you to hear me out." So, I asked him how much would you make at Walmart? This much. Okay. How much would you be able to work up there? Oh, really? Because of my running schedule and school and things like this, I'd only get this many hours a week and stuff. I was like, and you usually get paid bi-weekly. So in 2 weeks you would get how much? He's like, "Oh, I don't know. Maybe like, $200 something or whatever." I said, "Okay, what if I told you can make that in a Saturday?" And he's like, "How?" And I was like, "Well, if you get this yard, this yard, this yard, this yard, and you mow and everything, you have a 0-turn mower, so you can do it within this amount of time. Right. And then you do this gutter and this, and you clean out." And it's like, right there, you've made $300. Yeah. Oh. Now I say all that to say he works at Steak and Shake right now.
bet they have beef tallow. But they have beef tallow.
Yeah, because there's the other side of it. Now that was coming from my brain, which is the business and let's create something type of brain,
right?
Which was like, you have to go out and you have to sell yourself and you have to this is what I do, this is what and market and do all that stuff.
Right.
And he was just like, yeah, I don't want to do that. I don't care for any of that stuff. I'm just gonna go work at Steak and Shake and I show up. Yeah. I show up. I work. I don't have to do any of the work and everything. Right. So whereas I'm like, we could, you could create a business here and everything. I started a pool cleaning business because I was like, you could do that. Like, I'll start it for you, and then I'll help you with getting the pools open. Then all you got to do is show up and clean the leaves out and the filters out and everything, stuff like that. No, it didn't happen. I ended up doing it for 2 summers by myself.
Funny. That's funny. That's funny.
But he was just like, I just, he didn't have that mindset of going out. And I think that shows because my middle child, he's got that. He's creative and he has that side. Yeah. But with Easton, my oldest, he was like, I just want to show up and do my job. And
at least he's honest and at least he knows what he wants.
So for him, it was perfect when he came to us. He was like, I want to do the Go-Cast program. And then he did that for a while. And he's like, I want to go into nursing and things. Cause it's like, you know what? I'm not going to sit here and tell him, no, you should start your own business one day, or you should be an entrepreneur, or you should do this, because I think you have that mindset or you don't. Right. He very much had that. No, I want to go into a career, much like his mom. That's what his mother, she's a teacher. Okay. She's like, I have this goal. I want to go into this career, and everything. So I was like, okay, that's the mindset that you have. Yeah. Miles, our middle son, he is he's going to have to be some type of entrepreneur because we drive through town. He's like, I'm going to own that car one day. I'm going to own that car one day. And so I'm like, buddy, the world is going to smack you in the face. That's right. I hope you could just overcome it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good though. Man, that's fire. So
I love that, with the trades, and you could go into the blue collar side of things and you can, work construction, things like that. But I think it also gives you an opportunity to start your own. So if you are talking about plumbing or construction or electrical or, anything within that blue collar realm, you can work for somebody and you can make great money doing that. But it also gives you an opportunity to go out and do something on your own as well. Yeah. And make it even bigger. So go to the trade schools, learn that stuff. If that's the type of mind that you have and you want to build something or create something, definitely 100%. Yeah. I'm a big advocate on trade schools, and you don't have to do the 4-year school. Trust me, because it's expensive and you're going to be.
It's a racket. But I'm telling you right now, it's a racket.
On the other side of it, there are those kids like my oldest son that, with how his mindset is and everything, it works for him to go to the 4-year and to do that.
But that's taking you right into nursing where you can actually apply that. Look at how many, to cut you off, sorry. No. But look how many college degrees, how many kids think they need to go to college. College used to be, you got a job right out of high school, and to advance yourself in your career or in your job, you went to college to then become management or whatever. But now it's it's a prerequisite to even get into life, and it's wrong. You're putting everybody into debt. Half the time, kids don't even get a job in, I'm going to say more than half the time, in the field that they get their degree. And it's, and nobody wants to go to junior college because, it's junior college, it's an extension of high school. Well, guess what? You're still in high school. You're only 18 years old. So until you get some maturity behind you, it's probably a good thing, and it's cheaper. Mom and dad will appreciate it. You can still live at home. But
right. So
that's my soapbox.
Little backstory on me. So when East was born, I was 19 years old. So I was a young guy. Yeah. My wife was going to school full time. So I went straight into working. Gotcha. And that's just kind of what I always did. I have a lot of half brothers and step brothers and things like that. But my brothers and my half sister who I grew up with, or I primarily lived with, all 3 of them went to school. All 3 of them went to college. Not one of them is doing what they went to the college for. Right. My sister might do some grant writing, I believe now, but regardless, not in the field that she actually went to school with and everything. Right. So it's just interesting to look at that and see that everything that you guys went and did, you're not doing anymore. But me, who I didn't end up going to school. I just went straight into working.
Right.
But I've always had this passion for health and wellness and all that stuff. Here I am still trying to, be in that world and that realm and stuff. And they kind of like lost interest in the things that they went to school for just because the world, slaps you in the face sometimes, and you
Reality
find a different,
hits.
find a different avenue. And
you're still kind of in the ideologue, going to go to college. I'm going to, and I'll start off at $60,000 a year. No, you won't. It's just like,
it's not enough now.
Yeah, it's not enough now. Exactly. It's just unfortunate. It's just unfortunate. But, sometimes those are the lessons you have to learn in life. And
the funny part about that as well is they're all still paying student loans.
Right. And so,
as well. So
that's,
but they're all doing really well. But all three of them have great jobs. My brother Matt owns Jude's here in town. So he has a well-established business and everything that he's grown and everything.
Doesn't he like book?
His wife, Rachel, with Dawson Hollow. So being within that world, they got into the recording side of things. So they book bands for college shows and things like that. It's kind of small, like smaller groups, but they do that as well. And that's where because I believe it was PR is primarily what he went to school for. So that comes into play when he's, promoting the business and doing things like that. So I say all of that to say that, they went to school and they might not be doing exactly what, but they did get something out of it.
Right.
And whether that happens by going to college or by going into the real world, because I had multiple jobs that I did not like and the boss was horrible or this was bad or something, but I always took something good out of it too, or I learned something from it. Yeah. And that kind of built me into,
who you are today,
the person that I am now. Right. So
your son going into nursing has expanded so much. It's not just you're going to work on the med surg floor, you'll become charge nurse, and then eventually you'll be an administrator, right?
Right.
There is so much. I mean, even the health and wellness, nursing for that. You've got NPs starting their own clinics, their own primary care clinics. They've got health clinics, IVs, peptides. I mean, you're only limited by your imagination in nursing. You can make any job happen. Yeah,
well, and that's, we have Ryan Rogers coming on.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
He'll be the next episode after this one, who's MP and started his own practice and everything as well.
PA?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to ask him like all that.
I think he's a PA.
And then you'll have to explain, and then I'm going to tell him to explain all the little letters.
Nuances, yeah. Well, because my forever man is a PA, physician's assistant. So it's a little different.
So let's get back to that a little bit.
Sorry about that. Go.
You first husband, did you ever remarry after that or?
Wow. Yes. Thank you for asking. It was a rebound marriage. Those are the best things ever. Best things ever. So, so I ended up meeting this guy online and I'm in, get divorced, finish nursing school. And I ended up starting my nursing career at the Cleveland Clinic, in the OR there. So get online and I ended up meeting this guy who made aluminum spool wire. I don't even know. I can't remember what he was doing when I met him. He had a 9 or 10-year-old daughter or something like that. So I don't know. I knew him maybe 8 months or something. We get married. Woo! Well, my first husband, we knew each other a month and we got married.
Okay.
Not the best situation, but I think Scott was a good deal. But anyway, so the second marriage,
you don't seem as proud of the second one as you did.
Rebound. There's a reason it's called rebound, right? So I'm working at the Cleveland Clinic. He stops working at our factory. He gets fired or something, I forget. But he ends up becoming a limo driver. So he works nights. I end up working nights. He works weekends, right? And so the daughter is going to public school. She was a latchkey kid. She, hung out with the people next door. So when I saw her, I'm like, wait a minute. This child is 10 years old and she's wearing Daisy Dukes. We're not doing that. So there's a lot of change that happened in that family when I came in. So, Chuck was able to take care of her during the week, and then he worked on the weekends. And Sarah used to come home crying. There was a boy that was, I hate to say, I'm not going to put labels, but he just had excessive energy and not enough discipline. Self-discipline. And so inappropriately touched girls. He would use inappropriate language. He would, use with kids and with the teacher. And she would just come home crying. And I'm like, we're not doing this. We're not doing this. So her cousin was going to a Christian school. And so I went to them and I said, hey, I want to get this kid tested and I want her in this school. So we tested her. She tested out at 12th grade. Smart. Funny thing, kids, ding. The ding is we're changing subjects. They have this picture board that they show kids, and there's like all these different things on them. Guess which two things kids don't know what they are? Ironing board and a thimble.
Interesting.
Yeah. So anyway.
The thimble I can understand a little bit more now.
Yeah.
But the ironing board, it surprises me a little bit.
Because kids, everything comes out of the dryer and you put it on.
Yeah. Well, and like ours even has the like wrinkle free thing.
That's
now
right.
that like sprays the little mist on your clothes to
to freshen it up.
Steam it out. Yeah.
Exactly. So we got her tested and we ended up moving her to the Christian school. And oh my gosh, she just turned around. Put her in the ski club. She wanted to be a cheerleader. When that marriage fell apart, unfortunately, there was a lot of collateral damage. I was only with him like 22 months, but it took me almost 6 years to divorce him. So that was an episode. But apparently the daughter ends up going to school, becomes a psychologist. So good stuff. Good stuff happened.
That's what I was wondering if you still talk to her, if you have any relationship with.
No, she got pretty ticked, and I totally understand. But I've seen her on Facebook a while ago. She got married and everything, and she has a family, and she still goes to church and stuff. So it's just
amazing.
It was a blessing. It was a blessing to just be able to be into someone's life, and to help them get on a better path. Because where she was with her father, not a good path. Because after he and I split, he ends up getting arrested for prostitution, for soliciting, and I'm like, you got to be kidding me. He's calling me up and he's like, well, I was like, no.
I can't be involved in that.
I can't just get away. And then he tried, extorting money and stuff. And I'm like, you realize you put this in an email, right? Please just stop. Just sign the papers. Let's stop. But anyway, so that's like this little black blot that they're just.
I think we all have kind of those little moments.
But I honestly think I was put into that family's life to help Sarah.
Help her,
I honestly believe that.
Like
I don't think there's coincidences.
Right. There's always good that comes out of something like that. So
yeah.
So I think you're 100% right.
Yeah.
Especially if she's doing so good now. And everything as well. Not that that's all,
it's
because
not on me,
of you.
It's all her. Yeah.
But sometimes God places people in our life to kind of steer us back over into the right path, so then we can continue to do the work that's leading us in the right direction.
That is absolutely correct. That's one thing I enjoyed about being in this area is when you find a church and you get a church family and you have a church that A, isn't dead, but B, is willing to look at all aspects of the Bible. You know what I mean? Well, these last 2 years have been like, this is so awesome.
Yeah.
But anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry.
So I've heard you mention a few times about your faith, little snippets here and there and stuff. It's not something that you and I have got to really go into detail about, but you mentioned a little bit and stuff. What church, do you guys have a particular church that you go to here in town? Or do you kind of like to move around?
So just recently, I stopped going to the church that I had been going to for the last year and a half, 2 years. But still involved with the family there. I still meet up with people that were there, because I believe that is my church family. Sometimes churches just they just morph. And sometimes you either outgrow them or they outgrow you. So
well, and I've seen that. I've grown up in the church my whole life, and I've seen multiple times where that happens, but it doesn't just happen with one person or one family in the whole church. I've seen it to where it's been like half the church and the other half stays this direction, and then you kind of create.
That's how we
church.
have 12 churches in the city.
Yeah, I was part of, my family. I was a kid, but I remember my family was part of a larger church here in town. And then there was some disagreements. And so another church kind of branched off of that. And that was my world into the non-denominational side of church and everything, which is where my faith and things kind of live.
Non-denomination or
okay. Yeah. So we go to now we go to First Free Will Baptist. So we go to a Baptist church now. And I agree with a lot of their teachings and things like that. But I grew up more non-denominational. So I have a little bit more of that, I guess, liberal, if you really wanted to put, or an open mind, mindset on certain things than what people within kind of my Baptist church have. Although I feel very accepted. We've been to other churches and I'm just like, this ain't it. Like, no, that's not happening. We love our church. We love our church family. And I love how they're like, they accept you and everything, but also stick to their teachings, which is really good. While also mentioning that, hey, everybody's human. There's gonna be mess ups. There's, things like that. We don't get that sense of I'm up here and you guys are all down here at our church, which is something that I really struggle with growing up. Is I saw a lot of kind of the nastiness of churches and pastors putting themselves on a pedestal and listen to me, do as I say, and kind of thing. And so I left the church for a long time because of that. And then it was really nice on a run. I met the pastor of the church that we go to now, and we absolutely love it. But
is that the muscle guy?
Yeah. But that's kind of, I love that you said that. I'm going to make sure he watches this just for that part.
Was it Scott?
Andy.
Okay.
Andy,
not even close.
He does great. We're great friends with their family now. I coach his daughter. She's a runner. Our sons play basketball together. Absolutely love them. He's such a humble pastor, which you just don't see that very often. So really enjoy that side of it. But I always kind of had that kind of non-denominational mindset, which you've been around here long enough to know that can be loved. It can also be hated. So the reason I kind of bring it up and everything is, and what I loved kind of what you were saying with your walk and everything, you mentioned your forever partner. Is that your husband, or is that something that you chose?
So both of us have been in a marriage where we've been divorced. So like on our 7 year that we had been together, I kind of did like a covenant thing. The older I get, the more I don't want the government. I don't want that in my business. You can't help but anyway, as much as I can not include them, I will. And so, so I said, I want you to be in covenant with me. I am with you, you're with me, and we want to be together. And in God's eyes, I see this as our relationship forever. And so he's like, all right. He doesn't go to church, but I just keep praying, and I have other people praying. And I know.
I love that. I love that. My wife and I, had our son. I was 19. She was she would have been 21, 22.
Uh,
We weren't married until after our second son was born. And I remember saying for all those years, God knows I love you. Like, you know, what is a piece of paper type of thing. Eventually we ended up getting married and everything like that. Just because really we were in a church where we felt kind of called to do that. And for years I kind of mentioned like, oh, as the church that we were in, they, you know, blah, blah, blah. And we felt condemned to do it. But it really, for us, it was more that calling of like, hey, you guys don't have to do a ceremony. You guys don't have to like, but I want you to do this as a commitment to each other.
Correct.
Because our relationship had kind of been.
Sure.
So it was our way of kind of like, that's the signing the paper was that commitment aspect of it of like, I am yours forever. You're mine forever. And after that, for us, everything kind of was smooth sailing, but I never really felt guilty of anybody who is like, no, I found my person. And I love that you said covenant. I love that. How you kind of describe that.
That's God's love for us.
Right.
We have the redemption covenant. Jesus knows from the very beginning that he's going to die on the cross for us so that we can come back to our Father.
Yeah.
You've got the, Adamic, you've got Noah, you've got Moses, Abraham. We have covenants. That's how God makes a promise to us. We make a promise to God. It's serious stuff, you know? And, a lot of people, when they're just like, oh, it's just a piece of paper or whatever, you're right. When you write your name down on something, when God writes his name on your heart, when your name is written on his palm, that's like serious stuff, And it's unfortunate that we have made it such a frivolity and a convenience. Many things today are too convenient.
Right.
But I'm glad that like hit home, and nobody really has a right to judge your relationship or marriage because ultimately we're responsible to God.
Right.
And he's the one that is either the Holy Spirit's going to convict you or he's going to continue to show you how to move on in that path. Right. So, in churches, so legalistic sometimes, because, God hasn't given us enough rules. We'd like to put a little more rules on you. Plus, if we put these rules on you, then it elevates us. And I think that's some of the hard stuff. I'm kind of drifting here.
Please.
That's some of the hard stuff today. Not only do we have so many false teachers, we have all these influencers that people, we do have access to the Bible, but we can't allow humanness to take ourselves away from God. So there's this whole thing about church hurt, and all that's crap. A person hurt you. You happen to be in the church. The entire church did not come against you, right? Church, big C church has not come against you.
Right.
So, we become so soft as a society. Like everything makes us upset. Everything is putting us on edge. Everything's triggering us. We need to have all these medications or whatever. It's like, come on, guys, buck up. If you are following Christ was not a wimp. Christ was not a wimp. He took on demons. He would take his disciples. They'd be going Mount Hermon when he does a transfiguration, right? He goes right in the middle of a friggin' pagan festival, Pan, half goat, half man, plus some other one that starts Byzantine or something. But the whole area was demonic, So he goes to Mount Hermon where the fallen angels came down, right? And he's standing at the gates of hell and all this pagan stuff is going around. So he brings his three close ones and he's like, hey guys, who do you say I am? So they say, no. They say you're a prophet. They say you're Isaiah or Elijah or whatever. And so Peter says, you're the Son of God. You are right. So he says, you are the Son of God. So now he just admitted to everybody, this was the Son of God. And then he says, the gates of hell will not stop us. He's standing in front of the gates of hell, putting the devil and all the demons on notice. I'm here. And guess what? My little guys here, they're going to be here too. And this is done. So from the Tower of Babel, when everything got dispersed, we're bringing it all back and the church is going to live, right?
Yeah.
And then he transfigures and everybody's like, holy crap, right? I mean, so, get back to God. Stop looking at man, because that's exactly where the enemy wants you. They want you to get caught up in all the superfluous crap that really has no bearing at all. Get into your Bible. Know who God is. Know that he loves you. Find your identity. So many people, identity. Just read Ephesians. Just read Ephesians and you will see who you are, who loves you, what your purpose is. Just read.
We were just talking about that last night at church, about purpose and calling and all of those things. And I had mentioned one of our members had said, because I pray all the time, I used to pray all the time about calling and stuff like this, but there were times where I'm in my job or I'm working my job and I'm just like, I don't feel like I'm living up to my calling, or I feel like I should be doing something more for my calling and stuff like that. And of course our pastor was like emphatically like, no, like you're doing exactly what you're supposed to do, blah, blah, blah. And so I had raised my hand. I mentioned that, for years I prayed for, show me my purpose, show me my calling and stuff like that. And so it switched into, show me the conversations, show me the people that I need to be having conversations with, give me the opportunities to have those conversations.
Make me aware.
No matter what I'm doing.
Yep.
What job I have, or, if I'm out here at a basketball game, or if I'm over here at a cross country meet, or if I'm on a construction site, or if I'm on a podcast, just give me the opportunities. And that kind of what you're talking about goes into, we get so caught up in the, we make it more complicated than it is.
We always have.
Yeah.
We always have. Pharisees.
Yeah, and that's kind of what we were discussing as well.
But basically, what is our calling? Everybody has the same calling.
Yeah,
right?
Discipleship.
Discipleship. That's right. It's to love your God with all your heart, love your neighbor as yourself, and spread the word.
Spread the word. Yeah.
So guess what? Get into yourself and shine. That's all you got to do. Shine. It'll all come to you.
Yeah.
It'll all come to you. There's no great big calling. You'll know. But my mother used to have this saying. You keep one foot in the past, one foot in the future, you end up pissing on today. And I think many of us do that. We're looking for that bigger, better, greater thing down the line. And it's really, you need to be here. You need to be present. Sometimes being present is having the right conversation, is being available and having your eyes open to see that opportunity that God put before you, right?
And what's really cool is, after I mentioned that last night, I was sitting there just in my own thoughts, because, that's what my ADHD brain does. It doesn't actually focus on one thing. So I was in there and kind of all my own thoughts and everything. And I was thinking back to all the podcasts. When I started this is not a Christian podcast. This is a health and wellness podcast. It's not. But somehow every single conversation we've had so far has led back to that. At some point, we've had conversations about church.
I noticed that.
And Christ and all those things. I'm like, how cool is that? That it has worked into that.
But it is your health and your wellness.
Yeah, 100%.
It's not necessarily what your physical body's doing. Health and wellness is also spiritual.
Yeah. Oh, very much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you were right.
There
Both
we go.
counts.
Well, I'm going to end on that, but I want to give you an opportunity to talk about the company that you're with and everything right now. So give us kind of a short spiel about the company you're with and everything that they do, because it's an awesome thing and something that people really need to know about.
So I am with U.S. Disaster Restoration. We're located in Osage Beach. We were founded in 2017. Our owner was an architect. He builds furniture. He has done construction. And when he came to this area, he was doing construction on apartments and realized that there's a need for a quality restoration business. And so he opened up in 2017. We take care of water, fire, mold, storm, and trauma restoration and cleanup needs. That's my BNI.
Yeah. It's perfect. And you nail it every time.
So we do, the water mitigation, the mold remediation. We do fire and storm cleanup. We've recently gotten certified in trauma. So Cody, myself, and Tyler are pretty much the ones that are going to go out on the trauma calls. That's a little hard thing to advertise, but we do it. We're in Osage Beach. We are trying to get ourselves planted in Lebanon. And we have Cody down in Springfield. He's actually, BNI has been good to him down there. We've gotten quite a few referrals, quite a few jobs. And so we were able to shuttle some equipment down there, get ourselves an address, and really start getting established down there. But Lebanon is where we're trying to also get established. So, yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Dawn Marie, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you.
I enjoyed your story during BNI, and so I was like, I know I have to have her on here. I love your perspective and your insights and views on many things, and I look forward to having many more conversations with you
Ditto.
after this. Thank you for being on the show.
Thank you.